Maybe you want a bun with a sausage in it. So head over and see Jim, or James rather.
Oh my goodness, what the heck just happened in the BCCS parking lot? Oh my goodness. Are there any eyewitnesses here at all? If so, raise your hands, please.
I saw it all. I saw it all.
I saw it all? Okay.
I saw it
I
all.
need you to speak to the first responders the minute they're ready to rock and roll, Jim.
Well, I just happened to have the acting captain of the Burlington Fire Department, Jared McDonald, not the first prime minister of our country. Jared, what's going to happen here?
So we're just going to simulate a real-life motor vehicle collision. We're going to get Hadley out of the car as quickly as possible, as safely as possible. Pretty much it, yeah.
Our victim just happened to be wearing a crash helmet and a Nomex racing suit. That was just a complete coincidence. But tell us, can you explain to us roughly what's going to happen, and then we'll talk to Kurt and he'll give us some more detail.
So our whole plan will most likely be based on the patient conditions. So we have to find out what her actual conditions are first in the car. Obviously, we'd probably try and bring her out the door she's in right now, but I'm going to think that she has some sort of condition going on that doesn't allow that. So we'll have to pivot and potentially take the roof, maybe come out just through a tunnel at the back. We'll see.
To volunteer for this particular project. But okay, I'm going to talk to Kurt now. Where's Kurt? Chad. Okay, Chad, you're going to explain a little bit about the process here. Just take the mic and let's through it.
You got it. Thanks very much, everybody. Welcome tonight to Car Night. And in true fashion, this is kind of like a theme, so that's why we're out here. We decided that we could kind of display or put on display for you guys exactly how our team works. So if anybody's ever been in a crash before, and I hope it's a very small number, but if anybody's been in a crash, it's a very traumatic thing. Okay, so we've kind of simulated a crash here. This is what we call an underrun. Okay, so we have another car that has hit this white car and has put it up on its side. The driver, Hadley, say hi, Hadley. She's waving, good. Timely manner, and in the most safest manner, not going to aggravate any injuries that she sustained. Okay. So let's get the team going here. So really what happens here is we're going to show up on scene, and we got the team here, and the team simulates kind of our crew that we have in every truck in the city. And when we get called to an accident, we get off the trucks, and then that's when the team members are going to take over. They're going to come, they're going to show up on scene, they're going to kind of do a little walk around, try to figure out what's going on, and they're going to come up with a plan. Okay, so you're going to see all of this happening all at once. All right, so these guys arrive on scene.
On scene at 2-vehicle NBC. Hear me, car, stay do not move. Guys, your circle check, please.
So our captain, Jared, he's yelling out a bunch of instructions for the patient not to move, because we don't want anybody to further hurt themselves. These guys are all communicating with each other. They're looking for hazards that will harm or further harm the patient or the firefighters that are here. So they have located a propane tank in the back, which is very common. Everybody goes and gets propane from Costco. And now this person, unfortunately, Hadley's been in an accident with the propane tank. Trish is our medic. So on every truck, we have somebody that is assigned to patient care. I better get out of the way here. So they're assigned to patient care, and that's what Trish has done today. So she is in charge of the patient. She makes contact with the patient.
Left arm and trap
and she tries to find out specific information. All of this is a big play in order for us to safely extract Hadley from this car. Now we call these guys, this is the Burlington Fire Department Vehicle Extrication Team, and we compete all over the world. We've been to Prague and Barcelona. Next year I think it's Brazil, Romania. So we've competed against all the teams in the world, a lot of fire departments all over the world. It's called the WRO, or the World Rescue Organization, as we are a part of. So we compete against all the great teams all over the world. This is our training. We share all kinds of techniques and things that we learn to make our jobs better, easier, and safer. So what the guys are doing now, they've got patient contact. They had their little meeting over in the corner there that you all saw, and that was all of them coming together and discussing what they have found when they walked around. We call it a 360. So they talked about it and they came up with a plan. There's a number of plans that we come up with. One is a stabilization plan, and then second we come up with a rescue plan. Stabilization plan is basically we try to make the entire scene safe for everybody to work without getting hurt. Okay, so this is going to involve a few things. It's going to involve blocking and struts and different equipment that we place on these vehicles to make it solid so that it doesn't roll over on them when they're working. It doesn't move when we start cutting, so that keeps the patient nice and safe. Absolutely. So we have a number of pieces of equipment that we utilize to be able to accomplish our goal. What a lot of you saw on this side of the vehicle is they put something on the windows that looks like cellophane, when in essence it mostly is. It's sticky cellophane. And what that's going to do is we need to break glass to be happy. So when we break glass, basically it shatters. And I don't know if any of you have ever seen a car window, the sides and the back windows break. When they're under pressure, they kind of explode and the pieces go everywhere. So this is an attempt by us to control those pieces of glass, which is considered a hazard to firefighter safety. So I talked about stabilization, I talked about blocking and some struts, but we also use things like straps. On this side, you'll be able to see that we used a web or a strap, a ratchet strap, to strap one car to the other. Essentially, we're making this one unit so that we can control the whole piece and not just different pieces of this scenario. So I believe Trish is inside. Yes, she is. There she is. So the object is for us to get our medic into the vehicle with the person that was driving. So she's now inside and she's having a conversation with Hadley. She's asking Hadley numerous questions that are medically related, that are also related to her entrapment inside the vehicle, if there are any, and a number of things which basically helps us formulate our plan. Because at this point, our medic and our captain of the truck or the team need to come together and they need to figure out the best way to take Hadley out of this vehicle. Anybody have any idea how we would do that? Which way would we get Hadley out here? Anybody have any idea? Just call it out. Open the door, but the door's locked and we're simulating that it's crunched. Breaking glass. So front door, yeah, absolutely. Anything else? Be imaginative. Somebody say rip the roof off? Yeah, we can definitely rip the roof off. We can take we call it a tunnel, which means we tunnel from the back all the way into Hadley and we bring her out the back. So there are numerous different ways that we can get this patient out. And the medic and the captain have to discuss that to figure out the safest way and the quickest way to get her out. So we're covering all the back because glass is not our friend, it's kind of our enemy. gets in our lungs, so we really want to control this. Don't worry, it gets cool very soon here. So this is like the preparation. These guys have prepped everything. They got somebody inside, they're developing the plan, they figured out the glass, they're finishing off the stabilization. This is a strut that I was referring to. Okay, that helps stabilize the car from rolling over. Now it gets cool. Now we have what's called cutters and spreaders, or the jaws of life and the cutters. We also have a ramp here. We use Hamaltro. Hamaltro is a German company that we might even be visiting this year to compete. It was an option. So we use what's called Hamaltro. There's only about 3 or 4 different manufacturers that take care of extrication equipment. Hamaltro is one of them. All right, so these guys have got the cutters out. Looks like they've decided to do a tunnel. So they're going to take pieces off this vehicle. I don't think it's going to be fixed, that's for sure. Not after we're done with it. So they're going to do a tunnel. They're going to take the back door off, and then they're going to remove all the seats, and they're going to create a nice big space to lay Hadley down and bring her right out the back. So in Burlington, our extrication team, it's been 4, so we've got over 40 years of competition and training. There used to be a lot of local areas that we would go to compete to all of the Canadian teams, and just recently with the WRO, or the International World Rescue Organization, we've been able to go to international states and compete. Our team, we integrate our team into our training plan with the department. So we have roughly, out of all of our officers in the Burlington Fire Department, we have roughly 65% of all officers that have been on the team. The team members, because we have 5 team members and 1 captain, we can boast that we have just about 70% of all firefighters have been on the team as well, which translates into excellent training and service for you all. All right, so what they're using now, so they're still using the cutters, and they have to basically create a big space. So they're going to go in through the back, but they're also going to flap. It's what we call as a flap for the roof. So what my man Martens is doing, he has what's called hard protection. So that is basically a piece of Lexan plexiglass. It's on a stick, and we use that for protection of flying materials, metal, glass, whatever. We use that to protect the patient so that she doesn't get whacked in the head with a piece of metal when we're cutting.
Go ahead. Copy, entrapment free, guys.
So they're going to essentially open this vehicle up like a tin can. The idea is to create the biggest space, extract Hadley from this vehicle. So we've been super lucky in Burlington with the support of Burlington Fire Department and Burlington residents when it comes to this training program. Because we do have to travel at distances sometimes, we have to fundraise. We fundraise for accommodations and travel. So it is really a great program and great training. On the world stage, there are some excellent teams out there with great methodologies and processes to get people out of vehicles. We're high up on that list. We're definitely in the top 10 of the world, but there are some really good teams in England and Portugal. How you doing, guys? Looks like they've gone to plan B. So plan B, we have plans. So we have like usually a plan A, a plan B, sometimes a plan C. And it's always just in case something doesn't work properly, or maybe some damage has gotten in the way and it's just impossible to follow plan A. So these guys are actually going to remove or blow off the roof. They're cutting all the posts. So the car itself has kind of an anatomy that we've named. Okay, so we have A post, B post, C post, D post. And the A's start at the front and they work their way back. That's how we communicate with each other about which posts that we're cutting and when we're cutting them. Has anybody been inside a vehicle when they were extricating themselves out of it? Taking your car apart. Oh, our deputy wants us to call Oakville team. Interesting. How's it going, Beatty? How's it going?
Just happy to be here.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna speak up, guys. Trish, how's it going?
It's going good. Thank you very much. We're working away and we're having a chat up here just to keep calm.
Excellent. Okay, when we start getting close to opening up the vehicle, we have to get ready for extricating the patient. So we do that by pulling out a backboard. I'm sure you've all seen a backboard. Every ambulance has one. The backboard is for any spinal considerations that, any injuries that might have happened during the accident. We're preparing the scene for when we actually bring her out. So this is the point where we would get EMS involved. They'd be all ready to transfer or take patient care from it. One of the last things we cut in a method like this is the post that is closest to the patient. That is just in case bad things happen and something falls. We have that post that's close to her intact, which helps protect her in case of the unimaginable. That'll be the last post we cut. And then this becomes a coordinated effort. Everybody's going to have to take a corner and they're going to have to lift the roof off of the car. Thus, don't mess this up, guys. This is where they flap it to the front. And now we have a massive hole to be able to get Hadley out safely and quickly. What they're doing now is as you can tell, with all the cuts and stuff, we have a whole lot of what we call sharps. We have a lot of spots that people can walk by and cut themselves or hurt the patient in some way. So what they're doing is they're covering up with blankets. This is all stuff we have on the trucks. Blankets and sharp protection. We can use things like duct tape. We have some specialty equipment that we use. Basically covering up all the sharp edges when we're working around them so that nobody hurts themselves. WSIB, we don't want any of that. Good work, guys, good work. Hadley, how you doing? Good. She's a little busy. So the one thing in this whole scenario that really is a tough thing for us are the seats. The seats always get in the way because seats are very hard to take out completely, especially sometimes we have to cut side of the seat and peel it off to the side. We're in the age of electronics, so seats are they're electrically powered now. So a lot of times in accidents like this, we will disconnect the battery. Because why? Anybody know why we would disconnect the battery? There's one system in vehicles that really hurt us. Airbags, SRS systems, that's right. Airbags are really, well, they're dangerous to everybody, especially the patient. And if we don't disconnect the battery and disconnect the system, there's always that chance that it could go, an undeployed airbag could go off and hurt everybody around us. So we want to make sure that happens. By doing that, we effectively disconnect the seat, the electronics of the seat. So we have to work on that seat. We've now got her on the backboard, and now this is where we pull her out in one unit, protecting her C-spine, protecting her neck, and we pull her off to the waiting EMS paramedics. Good job, guys. Good job. Come on out, Trish. Effectively, this is kind of what we do. We rip the car apart like a banana or an onion, we peel it away from the patient, and then we create a huge space for us to
Yeah.
Sorry, that's okay.